Hello and welcome to jasonnewland.com. Just have a drink of water. Welcome to Let Me Bore You to Sleep, the place where you can listen to me talking and be bored. Yeah, it's my superpower. Yes, it is my superpower. So yeah, hey, it's Thursday the 9th of October 2025. And just taking Vinnie for a nice long walk in the fields. We must have been gone about an hour, I reckon. Maybe 45 minutes, 50 minutes. And I think it was good for him. He doesn't get any long walks very often. You know, we go into the park, he sniffs around, and he enjoys that. It seems, I don't know he does. He seems to enjoy that. But he seemed to also enjoy walking in the field. Or, I say the field, so the parks, with the grass. The field is where they grow stuff. We know what fields are, not farms, like farming field, if you know what I mean. Yesterday I shaved my head, so I'm now bald again, a baldy man. Vinny's just farted. Why is he's always got his bum facing me when he farts? Always, like guaranteed. Trying to think what else has happened. Yeah, it was, I really felt, I'm feeling it now. I'm feeling the cold. And it's not cold, but I'm feeling it a bit. Because I haven't got I'm not wearing my wig, am I? So my wig's not kind of keeping my head warm. Very strange. And the weird thing about it is because my hair's been annoying me for a little while. Every time I go into the bathroom and do a wee-wee, I come out and I look in the mirror to check to see how messy my hair is. Even though I haven't got any hair. Yeah, it's strange, isn't it? So, not a lot else really happening. I mean, I do some experimentation with some adverts on Facebook, but I've paused them for a while. I'm not making any more changes, So I paused them. I just did it for a couple of days. I just wanted to see if there was... I think I did 3 days. I wanted to see if there was any kind of traction, any kind of engagement website-wise. And if there is, there still is engagement website-wise, and I haven't even got the adverts running. So people are still visiting my website now as we speak. But hasn't made a slight bit of difference to the podcasts or the stats. So people are visiting, but they're not listening to the recordings on there. Well, not all of them anyway. Not all the recordings, but not all the people. Another thing I've got that I've done is on my website I now have playlists. So it's not a new concept. I've had that on previous versions of the website. But now all the playlists from for Let Me Bore You to Sleep from 1 to 50 all the way up to 1401 to 1450 in groups of 50. So that's quite a few playlists there, and you can listen to those if you like. You can also, let me just check, I'll go to the website and check that this is correct as well. So click on playlists, then click on Let Me Bore You to Sleep, which will come up. Then let's say I'll choose 601 to 650. Each one allows you to play it. You can like it, you can leave a message. You can also download it, like instantly download to your computer or to your phone for free. So what I'll do is I'll turn the volume off and I'll move. Okay, so if I go to 648, so whichever one you press on, you press the play button, it comes at the top of the playlist, which then gives you the option. You can fast forward, or you can press download, you can share it, you can go back 10 seconds, you can go forward 30 seconds. So yeah, it's pretty cool. So that's there. Because it's in groups of 50, I've only got the ones without music at the moment, but I will work on changing that in the future. It's just there'd be no point me doing playlists of 50 and then having all 6 recordings, although for the first 1,000 there's only 1 recording for each one anyway. But after that I started doing more. But then, you know, it'd be like 51, 52, 53. It'd be 300 recordings in each playlist, which is not a small playlist to get through, is it? I mean, the average podcast on Apple and a lot of other places will only allow you to view up to 250 of the latest recordings, which is why I'm doing this, so that you can get access to the older stuff, the really groovy stuff. Yeah. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. That's what I've done, rather. And I haven't got the section. So I've got a whole page, Jason Newland's Relaxation and Sleep Podcasts. Discover the full range of sleep hypnosis and relaxation podcasts by Jason Newland. Each series is designed to calm your mind, reduce anxiety, and to help you drift effortlessly into sleep. So you got Let Me Bore You to Sleep, Deep Sleep Whisper Hypnosis, Relax and Sleep Hypnosis Daily, Relaxation for Stress and Panic Attacks. They're the 4 podcasts that have the most recordings. So next to Let Me Bore You to Sleep, so there's a link, you can click on that and it takes you to the page that I just looked at. The other 3 haven't been done yet, although they kind of have been done. I just haven't built the page. I do have the playlists are already created on Spreaker. So next to Let Me Bore You to Sleep, a conversational, meandering sleep podcast that gently relaxes your mind through slow, calming storytelling and subtle humour. This long-running series has over 1,400 episodes and its own website. Its own website dedicated to helping listeners fall asleep naturally. It's not really true, is it? Okay. No, I'm not going back to having more than one website. So my rule, and I'm happy for you to remind me of it if you like, but do it nicely. Please, be gentle. Be gentle with me. It's been a while. I'm very sensitive. This is my plan going forward for the next year, so through 2026. Stay alive, that's the main one, as is every year. Secondly, try and stay well. Again, that's the definite priority. But as far as the podcasts go, be regular, be consistent. It's basically twinned with my bowels, really, isn't it? Just regular bowel movements, regular recordings. Be consistent. You need to be consistent with toilets, don't you? You need to, with your toilet habit, just being consistent. And don't introduce any new objects. No. Okay, that's where it stops, isn't it? Don't do things differently. Don't put more in it. No, I don't know how to explain it. Anyway, okay, maybe this is not a good example. My plan is to be very, very basic, and I am pretty basic person anyway, to be honest. But basically, to make a recording every day. I let me boy to sleep recording every day, at least Monday to Friday, and that's it. Like, really, that's it. No other taking on anything else. I'm probably gonna not bother with the whole descriptions or anything like that, or getting tag words, or all the stuff I've been doing to try and make it a bit better and to try and get a larger audience. It hasn't worked. It hasn't. That's supposed to be good for search engine optimization, SEO. I don't think it makes any difference. It doesn't seem to be. I might be wrong. So I'm just going to upload the recordings, make an image, upload them, or edit them, then upload them. And that's it. And then do another one the next day. I'm not going to make any videos, even though I do look particularly sexy right now with my bald head. Oh, I mean, the messages I'm getting from all the private messages I'm getting from I'm not getting none. I don't know why I'm saying that. No, I've not got no messages, but all the things you'd like to do with me. One is make me grow my hair back. That's the main one. The other one's wear a hat. Pretty much just put anything on my head just to cover up the bald, which is a little bit rude. I mean, there's nothing wrong with being bald. Some would say, well, why do I shave my head when I'm not bald? When I've got a bald patch at the back and it is receding, my hair is thinning out and stuff. But the way it's going, I reckon I'll still have hair on the top of my head in 10 years' time. I'm pretty sure, let's say I will still have some hair on the top of my head, maybe even in 20 years' time. But it won't be thick and curly. It will definitely, you will be able to, yeah. I'll have to wear a hat in the summer. That's what I'm saying. Because, with hair, you haven't really got to worry about your head getting sunburnt. And for some reason, the head seems to be a bit more. The weird thing about it, though, I remember I used to shave my head, like with an actual razor, like wet shave it to the bone, as it were. What surprised me is how tough the skin is on the scalp. It's really tough. It's not like shaving your face. I mean, when I shave my face with a wet razor, which is something I haven't done for, like, what, 10 years maybe? I don't know, if maybe longer. But if you do, you know, you've got to be a little bit careful, and it can nip or whatever. On my head, didn't have that problem. The only problem was if I kind of went over the same bit a little bit too often, then it could become a little bit thin. Well, thin? I don't know. A little bit too much, a little bit scratchy. But there's something really nice about touching my bald head. I mean, it's nice now. That is the one good thing. I do like playing with my head. So that's... Oh, Vinny's done another big fart. Do you want to get on? Get on. He wants to get on my lap, but he's just... But then I want to grab him to put on my lap. He like runs off. You all right, darling? As soon as he puts his foot on one of my knees, I'll just pick him up. You can hear me, can't you? You know I'm going to do that, Vin. Okay? If you put one of your feet on my knees, then I'll pick you up and I can cuddle you. It's weird. It's like he doesn't know how to approach, not romance, that's not the right word, affection. Because he is an affectionate dog, but he's just not outwardly affectionate. He likes to do it subtly. I sort of subtly. I'm just stroking his chest. Loves his stroke being chest. He does. Do you like having your stroke chest? Oh. I know, I'm being silly. But he does. He loves his chest being stroked. It's just, I'm not quite sure. It's comforting to him. It's a little, is it sensitive or is it just, what is it? Is it? You just like it, don't you? Yeah. Just that basically a part between where his arms are, between his arms and his neck, that kind of area. He's almost got like a marker for me to stroke. It's the white area, isn't it, Vin? It's a little white area. Oh, am I stroking your boobies? He looked at me like, that's enough. Okay, alright. Wow. It's a booby. It's a booby. It's a booby. Hey. It's a booby. That's it. Alright. You okay? You alright? He just, he squealed just then. I'm not quite close enough. I need to find a way. I'm thinking maybe if I find a way to empty this desk so he could just sit on the desk or sleep on the desk there while we do recording. Maybe he'd like that. I don't know. Because he wants to be part of it. He wants to... Because when I'm sitting on the chair or the sofa, he's basically lays next to me, cuddles up to my leg, and he goes to sleep. Or sometimes he watches telly as well. But when I'm making a recording, I'm over here. It's only at the other side of the room. It's not like far away. But he doesn't... I don't know. Maybe because I'm not giving him any attention. Is that what it is, Vinny? It's because I wasn't giving you any attention. You've always got my attention 24 hours a day. It's like my whole life is based around you and making sure that you're happy. well, I say happy, but making sure he eats. It does sometimes feel like it's based around him. You know, like when he needs to go out, when he needs to go toilet, when he needs to eat, when he's, you know, he's barking and... Hello. Oh, kisses. Oh, thank you. Yeah. When he kisses me, I just have to, like, try and blank out what I've seen him doing earlier in the day. Yeah. And what I see him eat off the ground when we're in the park. Ugh. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, so I'm going to have to change that website to make sure, you know, to let them know that I do not have my own, another website for the Let Me Bore You to Sleep. I mean, I kind of see the jasonnewland.com as being that website. I do wonder whether I should just change it. Not. You just said you weren't making any changes. Yeah, I know. Fair enough. So I'm not going to make any changes. I'm just going to carry on for the next year. Well, year and 2 months and 2.5 weeks or whatever it is. And every time I make a recording, there'll be 6 versions. I'll upload them to YouTube, to Spreaker. I'll upload them to the 2 podcasts on not Spotify, SoundCloud. Wow. And I'll upload them to Podbean. Although Podbean's, I'm not getting any traffic on there at the moment, but it is quite new on there. And then they will automatically be sent to YouTube and be available on YouTube, so all 6 versions. Right, it's just got off. Good girl. So on YouTube, it's kind of a strange situation on YouTube. I go periods when I get like practically nothing in the way of listens on YouTube, and then I get periods when I get a lot more than normal, and I can't really figure it out. So, for example, you know, I upload 6. I don't upload them, but they get all uploaded automatically from Spreaker every time. So 6 versions of each recording. What have I got? About 3,000 recordings now on there. And then it's kind of just steady. It's getting more on an hourly basis. You know, there's more each time, each day. It's kind of growing a little bit. More subscribers, you know. So I've had 3,533 views in the last 28 days. And my average used to be about 1,000 before, a couple of months ago. Subscribers has gone up 19. I know these are tiny numbers, I realise this, but you know, it just, in a sense of, it has grown. So I've now got 1,594 subscribers, and if you think the 20, it's okay. It's just little squirts every now and then of like 3 or 4 and 5, and so it's a slow process, and I'm not really doing anything other than just making the recordings, and then it's up to the audience, obviously, whether they listen. Of course it is, obviously. It's always going to be up to the audience, isn't it? But But then I've got this one recording here, and for some reason, I'm guessing YouTube has promoted that one particular video of the podcast. And it's 5 hours without music, number 1456, Let Me Bore You to Sleep. And that's had, what was that, 2 days ago? It was released on the 7th, 2 days ago. That's had 219 views. So I don't get why. I'm not complaining. I mean, it's still getting views even now. Like every hour it's getting. In fact, that's pretty much the dominant podcast in the last 24 hours. So I don't really know why. It's like one night. So what? 9th. So the 9th of October, it was at 115. Okay, 9th of October, 83, it started off, and then it ended 83. Oh, it's 9th today. What are we talking about? So the 8th of October, it was at 78. Now it's 241. So it's just grown in that little while. And I suppose that's because YouTube is promoting it. Not promoting it, but just like letting people see that it exists. And I do get messages on YouTube, people that are saying, I'm glad you're back. And I haven't really been anywhere. Not really. I know, like, I don't know. I've had I've been doing the podcasts when I didn't do the YouTube. So I've been making recordings non-stop for nearly 20 years. But I wasn't prominent on YouTube for a long time, since 2013. That was my more prominent place where I focused. And I did have a fairly nice growth there at the time. But it's just interesting where people sort of saying, oh, I found you again. Where have you been? It's like, okay. I'm glad people are finding me, but it's almost like I'm hidden. Why am I hidden? I don't want to be hidden. So hopefully, maybe more people will discover me again and think, what are you doing back? Why? Why are you here again? Because that would be, I don't mind. It'd be nice though, in a way. So this is my plan, okay? I'm not going to bother doing any transcripts, no descriptions. I'm just going to make the recording, go back to how it was before. Just go back to how it has been. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. And Vinnie, can you make up a bit more noise, please? Please. I love hearing him slurping his water. By that is he's drinking water, by the way, just in case you think he's... Vinnie, put your lipstick away. So that's my plan. I'm feeling okay about it, actually, because it needs to be simple. I'm a very simple person, I think. It needs to be simple. And it frees my creativity. So I literally can make a recording. Vinny's stealing stuff again from my table. It's like a little cake. They're not chocolate, so it's fine, but he still shouldn't be stealing. It's just the plastic it was in. So just giving it a good licking out. Sorry about this. This is too noisy, isn't it? Dear Jason, I was okay listening to you. I mean, I wasn't particularly interested in all the stuff you were talking about. I know it's not supposed to be interesting, but is it really supposed to be this boring? I mean, really, this boring? Shouldn't it be kind of mildly entertaining? A little bit. And as for that so-called dog in the background, can't you just put it in the bedroom or something? Why have you got to have it in the same room as you, making noise? This podcast is for me. It's not about your dog and you. It's about me. I don't want to hear your dog. And tell them bloody birds in the trees to shut up as well. And ask Vinny to stop farting. I can't do much about the birds in the trees, I'll be honest with you. I stuck a sign out. Didn't work. They're very stubborn, birds. That's the problem. Very, very stubborn. I love the sound of trees. Trees. I love the sound of birds. The thing is, what I'm trying to produce here, because for me, if I can actually finish the sentence, for me, one of the problems I had when I was younger was I needed it to be silent to go to sleep. I don't need that anymore. And I realised that can sometimes be get in the way of relaxing. And there's a whole thing also of like, there's always going to be some kind of sound, unless you live in, I don't know what kind of place, if you're lucky enough, because I'm not saying that I wouldn't like it to be fairly quieter, especially during the day. When I'm trying to make recordings, I don't really want the neighbours shouting at each other and stuff. It's not ideal for me. It's distracted for me, actually. But there's always going to be some kind of sound generally, whether it's the wind, the rain. But it's not just what sound you hear on my side. You've also got your own side. You might have a fridge humming, turning on and off. You might have neighbours closing doors, or neighbours, doing the deed. I mean, that might be. I find it funny. You know what? Years ago, 2011, I genuinely thought, because there was a couple moved into one of the rooms opposite me, and I genuinely thought that she was in trouble, because there was this banging against the wall, and she was like screaming, and I thought, oh no, well, that's what she was doing, going, and I thought, she's in trouble. I didn't know if I should call the police, knock on a door, and as I get closer to a door, I heard other things, and I realised after a while, about half an hour, I got up off my chair, took me popcorn back into me bedroom. I realised that what they were doing was having a nice romantic encounter with each other. From what she, the other things that she was saying out loud. And it's weird because I started laughing because I realised that people do that still, and I hadn't done that for ages. I forgot that people did that stuff. It might seem weird that I'd forgotten, but I just genuinely hadn't even considered the two people living in a place together would be, doing any of that stuff. Hadn't even thought about it. I forgot people did it because I haven't done it. I hadn't done it for blimey, couldn't even remember how long. So I forgot that adults do stuff like that. I got a neighbour. Okay, I won't say a neighbour. I know someone who has a neighbour that lives upstairs, and that neighbour makes a lot of noise. And this neighbour's probably in mid-70s, and she makes a lot of noise, both on her own and when she's perhaps with someone, I don't know. Now, I've heard it and it makes me laugh because I'm very immature, obviously. But the person that lives downstairs, who I know, doesn't find it funny, doesn't like it. Really upset, has complained, has all kinds of stuff. Yeah, I find it just, for me, if I see someone in their mid-70s and they've still got an active life, should we just say that, an active a life, an active sensual, whatever you want to call it, love life, maybe love life. I'm kind of, high five. Not literally, because I don't really want to touch her hands, but it's but it's. If you're 75, because I'm 55, so I've got 20 years till I'm that age. If I still have the ability or the interest to enjoy, to gain pleasure from my body, then I'm going to be I'll be lucky, I think. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say it nicely and respectfully. But I think that's cool. I don't know, I think old people, I say old people, I'm old now myself really, aren't I? But people like in their 70s, 80s that are able to enjoy their life, good on them. I know necessarily not great if they're disturbing someone else, so that's, it's an issue, but stepping aside from that, good on them. But the thing is, I remember my uncle, it was my nan's brother, came over. It was at Christmas, I think. So I spent Christmas with my nan, and my uncle Anthony was there as well. So we both went to bed, me and my nan, separate rooms, and why did I say that? Why did I say that? That's ridiculous. Uncle Anthony stayed downstairs listening to the TV, and it's really loud, like really loud. And I came downstairs, can you turn that TV off and you're going to come to bed? And he said, I want to sleep in a different bed. I said, you have got a different bed. He said, what? I said, what are you talking about? He said, I thought we had to share a bed. I said, no, there's 3 rooms here. He said, oh, brilliant. He turned the TV off and he ran upstairs. It was a bit rude. It's like, what's wrong with sharing a bed with me? We're family, you know, it's like, it's nothing weird. But anyway, he was downstairs and he was listening to the TV. He basically couldn't hear very well, which is fine, you know, there's no issue with that, but it was very difficult to get to sleep because it was so loud, like really loud, on a level like full blast. So yeah, that was but he couldn't hear it very well. So in a sense, for me, I was like, okay, that's annoying, but at the same time, he's practically deaf. So I can't really be hating on him, you know? It's like, it's not his fault. And also, he's my family, he's my nan's brother. You know, it's like, give the man a break. So, for the rest of the Christmas, we stuck him in a shed at the bottom of the garden, which, well, that was okay. I felt a bit bad for the first 5 minutes. It was all right though, because there's a little heater in there, and pushed the food through a little flap. Because you had to lock the door, of course, otherwise he'd get out. Little hole in the other side of the shed so he could go to the toilet. So it was all right. But, you know, as I'm saying, it's like, it's about having respect for elders and having respect for family. So that's why I showed him respect and wasn't all like, oh, angry, and because, you know, it's not his fault. Plus, it was only for one night, because the rest of the Christmas, TV was, well, it was turned off when we went to bed. Separate rooms. I don't know why am I saying separate? The good thing about living in that house, staying in that house where my nan lived, is I got to sleep in my old bedroom. Now, I don't know if you've ever done that. It's something just super cool, depending obviously on if you had a good time in the bedroom when you was a kid. But on this occasion, in this house, I loved living there when I was 7. Between 7 and 8, I loved living there. That was my happiest time as a child. And on quite a few occasions, I got to sleep. That's where I would sleep. Sometimes I sleep in the other room that had a double bed, which was where my 2 brothers used to sleep. But quite often, like Christmas periods, there'd be other family members there as well. So I'd be like in the smaller room. But I was fine with that, because that was where I originally... Well, that was the first room I ever had on my own, or of my own, as a child, when I was 7. Oh, that was phenomenal. I loved that room. I'll never love another room like that. Seriously, and I'll never love another house like that. I loved that house. In fact, if I ever did come into money, I would buy that house. if possible. I mean, you can't force someone to sell, I know, but I would, yeah. Ideally, the house next to it as well, because it's a semi. So if you put them both together, I'm not to build one big house because I'm not that bothered, but maybe, I don't know, maybe if I got married or something, I could let my wife live in the next house, so we don't have to see each other too often. You know, if we want to, we can. I'll have a key to her front door, and maybe after a while of us being together as a married couple, and maybe I'll give her a key to my door. Yeah, it could work. Mind you, the house next door had an extension, so technically that was a better house, but I just love this one. I hope they haven't put any extensions or anything on it, because I like it exactly the way it is, like perfection. I remember every detail of that house. The smell, and that's going to be a different smell now, but it's perfect house. A nice little quiet area in a little town, and 3 bedrooms. I don't know whether or not I would sleep in my old room or not, though. So if I moved in there, because let's face it, it's all going to be empty when I move in. The living room I would have as a living room, because it's a living room. There's not really much else you can do in there. But I wouldn't have it like this. I'd have it as a living room. Because this is a living room. How many times do you reckon I could say living room before anyone notices? So this is a living room. You know, I've got a sofa, I've got a TV, a little table on the side to put me coffee, my cups and dishes and stuff, but I've also got my desks and, you know, doing my podcast and stuff. Now, if I was to have that house again, I would be wanting to use one of those rooms for podcasts. Which I'm thinking maybe... that's the problem, though, because I don't need to have a spare room for someone else to stay over, because I'd never invite anyone. So there wouldn't be any reason really. But also, the little room's not big enough for a double bed, and I have become used to sleeping on a double bed. Plus I got Vinnie as well, so because if I did buy it, it'd have to be now. I'd have to be like soon. I'm not thinking about 20 years ago. Wait, it's like no, it needs to be the next year or so. I don't know, maybe not. But what would I do? So let's say I'd have one room. Ideally, I need one room for podcasting. The small room would be probably a good sized room to make podcasts, because I could make it all soundproofed as possible, and it may be that could be a good room for that. But at the same time, I like the idea of just living in that room, having a single bed like I did before, against the wall, remember exactly the same place, get a Bruce Lee picture and put it on the wall. They say you can never go back. Why not? They say lots of things that are wrong, don't they? Whoever they are. You can't go back. You only get a chance for the first impression, only one chance. All that thing is just lies. Like, Yeah, if you never meet each other again, you're going to be keeping that impression. I realised recently I never ever forgive or forget, but I do stop caring. It just dawned on me the other day. I've got a fairly good memory in some ways. It's not necessarily lineal. It's a bit all over the place. And I managed to get, I think I managed to get to the different places through a process which doesn't necessarily make sense, even to me. There's lots of thought patterns that lead to different places, which I guess is the same for everyone. But what was the point of what I was saying? Oh yeah. I didn't get my first bike until I was 7. No, that's not it. I liked wearing a dress at school. No? What was I talking about? I loved getting dressed up in women's clothes. That's it's what they called back then. I did drama on a Friday night, or Friday, last 2 sessions of a Friday. Did drama, full makeup. Loved it. I did. I'm not sure I made a very pretty lady, but I enjoyed it. Because I knew that it was kind of a bit taboo back then. And I would go home with full makeup on because I didn't have time to get it off. So I'd go home with like mascara and lipstick, and sometimes, they would, what's her name? I can't remember her name, the drama teacher. She would say, you need to really go back into, get rid of everything before you leave the school. And go back, walk home. You come in as a pupil and you leave as a pupil again when you go home. And I said, yeah, but there isn't always enough time to go back to looking like a pupil. She said, well, at the very least, can you just leave the clothes here? Leave the dress, leave the wigs, leave the wheelbarrow. Why did you take the wheelbarrow? I said, well, I was playing a farmer's wife. A farmer's wife. Why do you automatically assume that just because a farmer who has a wife, that she's going to be wheeling a wheelbarrow around? Do you mean pushing a wheelbarrow around? Well, what difference does it make? Well, wheeling a wheelbarrow around, there's just too many wheels in that sentence, isn't there? If you say pushing a wheelbarrow around, because if you said pushing a pushchair around, that's a bit too many pushes. But that is what people say, though, isn't it? Pushing a pushchair around. Yeah, that's a good point. But never mind that. What about the wheelbarrow? Yeah, we need it back. Okay. All right, I'll bring it back next week. That's what you've been saying for a year. Have you sold it? I said, no. She said, Jason. I said, yes, miss. She said, have you sold it? I said, no. She said, have you sold it? I said, no. She said, I'll ask you one more time. Have you sold it? I said, yes. She said, why did you lie all those times and then say yes at the end? I said, because when you said you'd only ask one more time, I wasn't quite sure where I was going. And I could see the machine gun sticking out of your handbag. So I was a little bit concerned. She said, it's not a machine gun, it's knitting needles. I said, oh, okay. I haven't got my glasses on. She said, Jason, you don't wear glasses. You're not wearing glasses. I said, exactly. She said, what does that mean? She said, I don't know. And then she said to me something really weird. She said, you know what? I said, what? See, you know, obviously I'm your drama teacher. I said, yeah. And your English teacher. I said, okay, fair enough, you do 2 classes. She said, why do you come to drama lessons? I said, it's because I signed up. I've got no choice really, have I? So you don't want to be here? I said, of course I don't want to be here. I don't want to be at school. I don't like it. What's the point? She said, but it's education. Do you not realise how lucky you are to have an education from the ages of however old, I don't know, like 12 years of education? How many people around the world would just love the opportunity to spend 12 years of their life in education for free? I said, well, I'll swap with one of them then, if you like. I don't want to be here. I don't want to come here. Oh, do you think I'm sitting at home thinking, oh, I've got drama today. Oh, great, I'm going to be able to run around and shout and pretend to be something I'm not. I can do that on the playground. I can do that at home. I can do that in bed. I can do that in my own head. It's like a little poem there, wasn't it? Don't need to come into a class to do that. She said, but don't you think maybe that there's a possible that you could be good at something? I said, if I am good at something, I've not found out yet. I want to have a go at Vinnie for sneezing. She said, who's Vinnie? I said, no, hold a second. I'm now come back to reality. He was sneezing. I can't tell him off for sneezing. That's silly, isn't it? She said, why are you going on about sneezing? I said, shush, wait a minute. She said, do not shush me. I said, look, I'm now talking about Vinnie. Vinnie's my little puppy in the future. What do you mean in the future? Oh, come on. How many times have I got to explain this? Look, you're an imaginary person. This is a podcast. You don't exist. And I mean, literally, you don't exist because I can't even remember what teacher I had during drama. Couldn't even tell you what she looked like, what her name was, anything. So you're not a real person. You're a real person, you know, I'm not being rude, but you're not in reality a real person. There was someone that did have that particular position in my life when I was like 14, 15, 13, 14, whatever years it was. But that's a long time ago. And I do not remember the names of those people. She said, well, what do you remember? I said, I remember plenty of things. I've never really been a name person. Although I do remember certain people I went to school with. Dean. Dean. I'm much better if I do their full name, because I know his full name. I won't say it though. So Dean. Neil. Stefan. Carl. Douglas. Wow. So that's 5. It's not bad, is it? 5. Who else? Stephen. Although he was kind of on-off friends, at the end he wasn't so friendly, but we were friends. I actually went round his house once. The thing is, even Dean, like, I just had an interruption. Someone was knocking at the door. And I thought it might be a neighbour, so I went and answered. But it wasn't, it was a delivery. Amazon delivery. So I got some treats for Vinnie, some bony things and some other stuff. And one thing for me, where is it? Double D 40, not double D, WD 40, Whiskey Delta 40. It stops squeaks, dries out moisture, cleans and protects, loosens rusted parts, frees sticky mechanism. This could be used. Do you remember the Tin Man in The Wizard of Oz? Could have been used for him. But I have squeaky doors. I bought it originally because I got a squeaky desk, so I ordered it. But by the time I ordered it 2 days or yesterday, whatever. But I'd fixed the desk by that time, so it was good. But I can still use it for the hinges on my doors are just rusted. Old. The doors are old, man. Seriously, they were old when I moved in. It's just, I suppose I could have replaced them, but I don't know. I don't think we're allowed to. Maybe we're allowed to, I don't know. Anyway, so I've got that. I will use that later. Being Dean, so we were friends from junior school all the way, so from the age of 9, 10, 11, and then at high school, 12, 10, so 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. But basically 6 years we were friends. However, I'm talking best friends. Always together. During school and after school. Weekends, evenings, just... We were, not all the time, I mean, but there was a period when it was just me and him pretty much all the time. And something weird happened. I don't know what it was, but we was in the Sea Cadets together as well. We both went on the same night and decided, because we was bored that night and it was cold outside. We did the same. We did cooking at school together, one of the classes, and we did drama together. We kind of just stuck together throughout the whole of school. But in the last year, or maybe the last period of year, whatever, things went a bit downhill, and he picked a fight with me. I never don't understand why he did it, but it was just near where he lived, on a bit of grass. And I think we were both doing our paper rounds, and he was trying to goad me into having a punch-up, and I was like, why? I'm not in the mood. And then, that didn't end very well. And it kind of ruined our friendship a little bit. I never understood what the point of it was, because, I'm always... in my mind, you be nice to your friends. It just seems like an obvious thing. You don't get into arguments or physical interactions with people that you care about. And he was my best friend. I mean, he used to just come and go as he pleased. He'd come into my house, he'd just walk in the back door, and just go upstairs to my bedroom. Sometimes I'd get home and he was in my bedroom. Like, we were that close. I never once went in his bedroom, I don't think. his dad didn't like me. Plus, it was a business place. It was an old, a residential. We used to call them old people's homes back then, but it's a residential home. And he didn't. Yeah, I rarely went inside. Occasionally, I'd go inside and help with the washing up, so that he could come out and play. It was a bit like, you know, you can go out when you've done your homework. You can go out when you've washed those dishes. So it was a bit like that. That is one good thing, I suppose. My parents at that time, they were friendly to my friends. They were welcoming, you know. I didn't have many friends. Ivan's another one, and he lived round the corner. So as far as like people that would come into my house, Dean, Neil and Ivan. Ivan was the closest physically, because he literally just at the end of the road. Neil was, we used to get up to stuff, me and him. Should I rephrase that? It's just, we used to get up to naughty things, be a bit boisterous. Not anything bad, but, you know, just little things. Climbing trees, building, you know, tree houses and robbing banks, you know, just things like that kids do. And so I had different relationships or different friendships with each person. With Ivan, he was much more laid back, very chilled out person. Vinnie, can you make a bit more noise, please? And his mum was lovely, really. But then Neil's mum was lovely. His mum and dad were really nice. Dean's dad just didn't. I didn't really get to know him. He just didn't like me. I'm sure he was a lovely bloke as well, no doubt. But I think I was annoying. I annoyed him. I was a little bit rude sometimes. Now, I was never rude to Ivan's mum, because I really liked her. And she always invited me in and let me wait in if Ivan wasn't there. And I'd just chat to her, and she'd make me a cup of tea and sometimes give me dinner and stuff. So she was just really lovely. I was cheeky to Neil's mum and dad, but they seemed to find it funny, or not as annoying as everyone else. Even to the point where I visited them. Well, I visited his mum. I mean, his dad wasn't, I guess he was at work or something, but 10 years after leaving school, I went round there, wondering with Neil to see if he was there. And I figured he wouldn't be living there anyway. But I spent some time with his mum, had a cup of tea and talked about old times. It's a long time ago now, isn't it? But just still the same person, still very funny, Scottish. I don't think he took me too seriously. She realised I was just cheeky. I wasn't a bad kid, you know. Can we make a bit more? Blimey. To the extent of when I moved into the flat above the chip shop, bearing in mind I was only 16 years old and a few months. Neil's parents helped me out. They gave me stuff for the flat. I had my childhood furniture from when I was a kid, so that was stored in the garage, and my dad got that. And he helped me out as well, he gave me stuff, but the things like cutlery and plates and saucepans, and because at the time my dad was starting out all from fresh as well, so he didn't have anything really to give me. If I'd asked him, he would have got it. So there's no issue there. But Neil's parents, I can't believe how nice they were to me, considering how cheeky I was when I was little, you know, in their house and some of the things I got up to. It's strange. So yeah, they're definitely the best. The only parents I really remember is Neil's parents and Ivan's mum. And Dean's dad, I guess, but I didn't really sort of, I mean, he was at work. I'd be knocking on the door for Dean and he'd be at work, because that was where he lived and where he worked. And I know he was a nice bloke because he adopted Dean. Like I was adopted, he was adopted. That's why we had that thing in common, because we both lived in children's homes. And I was in Nazareth House, he was in Dr. Bernardo's. So there was that connection. We both knew what it was like to live in a children's home, in a dormitory with other kids that orphans, or maybe just parents weren't around. So we had that connection. But I think the problem was, as we got older, he was more sensible, but also he was bigger than me. So we were both quite little, but he grew bigger than me when we got older. And he started to, I think, want to I guess he probably became a man before I became a man. Simple as that, really. I was very, very behind with development. I'm still waiting for my voice to break and my balls to drop. So I think it was a little bit of it being a teenager, and he wanted to, I don't know, be dominant maybe, I don't know. Who knows? But he was a good friend for a long time. And even though I kind of wasn't particularly close with Ivan the last few years, I was for the first couple of years. He was still my friend, but I just didn't spend too much time with him. Dean and Neil is the person I spent more time with. And when I left school, Dean's the person, Neil rather, not Dean. Neil's the person I spent time with after school. When I left school, Neil's the person that visited me. He visited me straight away. He visited me when I started working at the chip shop before I moved. So when I was living sleeping on the floor in my stepmother's living room, he would visit me there, knock and would go out. And then he was the first person to visit me in the flat, which I guess is why his parents came and helped out. And he visited me when I was staying with my dad. So we kept in contact all the way up to when I left for London, which was 91. So from 85 till 91, we were still friends. We still hung out with each other. Which is still quite a long time, isn't it, really? Think that's 6 years. But it was a different thing. We'd be going out to the pubs and we'd be hanging out. And I remember when I moved into my flat, I had some tea cakes. And it was Easter. So I cooked some tea cakes and a cup of tea for us. And we watched Wurzel Gummidge on my black and white TV. Yeah, I remember that. And then he contacted me in about 91, maybe 92, 91 time. I think it might have been, I think I was visiting and I went to the pub and I saw him in there and we were chatting, and he wanted me to go abroad with him. He said he wanted to go to visit travel around Europe, go to France, and he wanted me to go with him. And I said, no, I want to stay in London. I'm doing comedy. I don't want to do anything like that. And he went anyway. He was going anyway, but he went, and I think he, as far as I remember, I'm sure he got married and had kids and stuff. So he may still be living in France. But his parents are really good to me. And yeah, at the time, I'm sure I didn't appreciate it. But maybe I did. It definitely felt like a safe place to be at his house. Because his mum was, I don't know, just both of them. His dad was very calm. Very, very calm. Because I think his mum was like from Glasgow, if I remember rightly, I might be wrong. And his dad was from Edinburgh. So he was very, I'm not saying Glasgow's wild and Edinburgh's calm, but as far as it just he spoke slower. I don't know if that's an Edinburgh thing. I might just be making stuff up, which I probably am. But he was much calmer as a person, and he had a much easier accent to understand. However, because I spent years around Neil, I could understand the Scottish accent. It took a while, but then I kind of just got used to it. So I very much attuned to the Scottish accent, just like I did with the Irish accent when I was friends with Andre, and when I went and lived in Ireland for a while. Andre, my friend, rather than Andre, my little boy. Wow, it's almost like having fireworks in there. Right, that's me done. I'm going to go and get something to eat. So thank you for listening. Remember to be kind to yourself. Tomorrow's Q&A Friday. Remember to be kind to yourself, because you do deserve to be happy. And be gentle with yourself. You deserve to feel safe. Lots of love. Bye. How much noise can one little puppy make? Blimey.